Hey Muses, welcome back to my channel, and if this is your first time being here, hi, hello, welcome. My name is Tyler. I'm a professional tarot reader and content creator across Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. And today we are taking a deep dive into the Allcento Tarot, a 100 card tarot deck. Now, before we get further along in this video, please remember to subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, and make sure you turn on that notification bell so you never miss another message. So let's dive into it, shall we, friends? All right, so the deck comes in this lovely box that you can use to store the cards, but to me, it is not all that convenient to keep the cards in. This is printed by US Games. A little bit about the back. Allcento Tarot combines rich symbolism from historic tarot traditions as well as the most popular modern incarnations. Inspired by early Marseille and Medici tarot, this delightful 100-card deck with black painted edges incorporates zodiac cards, all 7 virtues, and the lesser-known triumph cards, including the dragon and the grail. The 144-page illustrated guidebook explores numerology, Kabbalic insights, casts light on hidden and forgotten knowledge while presenting an engaging new approach to tarot. I have, in a way, fallen in love with this deck. This cartoony illustration, this is the guidebook. It is hefty, full of information, has become one of my fast favorites. I do enjoy reading it. I have separated out the additional cards and kind of made my own version of this deck with just the regular 78 cards, because I haven't had a chance to really dive into the new ones. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to do a quick little side-by-side. Things to point out here. We talk about, the book talks about playing card symbols, directions, timing, when things are associated. We also have the elements here, right? We have the element symbolism, which is lovely to have. It is also noted on all of the cards as well. And then court cards, they have names, which I kind of love and enjoy. And then here's what I've kind of found interesting, that they have symbolism also mixed into the cards, which will help you pull kind of a key energy for the cards. So the aces are unity with the limniscate. Duality is an X. Creativity is the triangle. Stability is a square. Disruption is kind of looking like the star that's found in the pentacle. Harmony is this symbol. Struggle, which is creativity and stability in one. Balance is 2 of the stability squares. Power, which is a symbol coming from above. And transition is like a bullseye, if you will. So all of these come back into play in all of the cards, which I love. And it's kind of a way to build for yourself, like a tarot grid. In my brain, I have what I like to call, lovingly coined, the periodic table of tarot, where all of the major energies trickle down into the minors, and you will see that in the cards here. So let's dive into them, shall we? Let's zoom in here. All right. So I pulled the Fool into the front here, but in this deck, they have it unnumbered, not even with 0, and it actually comes at the end of all of the majors. But I just love this energy. You can see the completion of the full story, right? We have the sun, we have the village, we have the cliff here. We have kind of this like angel, oh my God, biblically accurate angel. We have elements here. We have earth, air, fire, and like water, clouds. There's a lot here to play with. And it's just, I really love this Fool card and this cartoony. Love that we still have the dog and the flower and all of that there. So lovely interpretation. This Magician card, there is so much information. We still see the dual lit candle, finger pointing below, this cart with all of the elements. Now you'll see that it also pulls all of these symbols. The sword, the cup, the pentacle, and the wand also have all of these symbols related to playing cards. So I love that. We have the lemniscate built into the hat. This cart has alchemy here. We have kind of elements in zodiac and planetary signs in the circle, all of the elements in this banner here. So we really can pull from a lot of information. You have the snake eating itself with the key of wisdom kind of in the belt. The caduceus here in the background, really highlighting that we have all the tools of success to kind of get into what we want to create and what we want to make. High Priestess here, we have the moon at her feet, the book, right, representing spiritual wisdom, two opposite color pillars, but white we have water and fire, right, to kind of do the opposites here. The curtain with the pomegranates here, the three-phase moon here on the crown, keys in her hand, this lovely also little bird. I'm not sure what the bird is. Let's see if I can find it. Beside her is the peacock of Juno, whose folded wings also contain a secret. Seated on the locked chest, the word arcana is defined as secret or mystery and is derived from the Latin arca, a chest. In some respects, this card is the holiest of the major arcana. Love that. So we see a lot of symbolism. Oh, it looks also like a fish in the hat almost. You can pull so much from all of these cards. The Empress here, almost identical. We have an addition of an eagle here, the shield, the moon at her feet, representing kind of the other side of the High Priestess. Her chair and her pillow still protected. Lovely. I love the addition to the water in the background, which you see here slightly, but it's really kind of emphasized here. The Emperor, instead of looking directly at us, is looking out, holding all of the same symbolisms that we need. A designed shield, could it be from battle, right? Why are there chips in here? I love that kind of notion that, like, we are an active member of what we're fighting for, right? We have seen battle. We know what we're going through. The double-headed phoenix or dragon, just a beautiful representation. Now, the 4, right? I gotta back up, right? So, the lemniscate, the cross of duality. 3 was the triangle. 4 is the stability, so the square, right? Seeing how all of these kind of come back and point out to each other. 5, here is the conflict, or what do they call it? Disruption. But I love this Hierophant with all of the information, right? We have kind of these pillars of duality here, a little spider saying, like, we weave the web of connection here. Their staff with all of their little trinkets that kind of resonate for what they're going through. I love that the disciples or the students are sitting patiently, quietly, waiting and absorbing all of the information from the structures. We got the identical hand symbolism here. Absolutely love this Hierophant. All right, Lovers. We've also renamed the lovers to choice right off the bat. That is one of my favorite things. The symbolism of harmony is right here at the feet. Now, this lovers card pulls into play the Marseille tarot image of the lovers having to choose between two ladies. In this deck, one is just listed as a seductress. Cupid is blindly aiming its arrow. We have a dove of peace. The added dog here symbolizes the fact that we should go with the more loyal choice. It is on the side of the loyal woman, not the seductress woman. But love that. I also love the little added like heart here on his chest, showing that he's doing the things that he is called to. Just a great kind of representation of the Marseille lovers card. 7 is the Chariot. These horses are kind of silly and kind of a little out there. They need a little bit of control here. Now, the symbol for struggle here is on the chest here, right? We also see it here in the actual Chariot. But look into the background here, right? We still see this kind of castle-y imagery here. But this is hinting to me kind of a tower situation. We're coming from some sort of city on fire, tower moment. I love that we also still see the kind of protected by the heavens. We have a wand on fire. Still have the shells of armor here. Just a lovely interpretation of the Chariot card. All right, Justice here. Now, they have also gone back to the original kind of ordering that is found in the Marseille. Now, know that the Rider-Waite-Smith deck flips Justice and Strength. So that's why you see it as a 9 here and an 8 here. I have them in the right order based on the Allcento Tarot Deck and not the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. So they have put Justice before the Hermit and put Strength after the Hermit. No, after the Wheel. Sorry. So anyways, Justice here. We have a lot of things happening here. We still have the scales. We have the sword. We have a knight kind of understanding our actions. We have the symbolism here for balance, right? The 2 squares of stability at the center. It's also well defined in the background here. A butterfly and this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? Yes, 7-pointed crown with also which looks like a lotus coming out the top of her head. Kind of saying that like through the muck of what our brain gives to us, we are able to pull out truth and justice. So there's so much to play with. I love this butterfly here. Also pulling in that energy of transformation or rebirth or of flight and wisdom, taking it slow, going through change, while actions of the world, right, go quickly. We are discerning slowly here. The scales are even. The sword is straight up and down. No decision has been made. Just lovely. All right, power is the symbol here that we see. The arrow up. So for power, we have, instead of a lantern of sorts, it's an hourglass. Our hermit is winged, maybe almost kind of tapping into that spiritual element that is there, that is connected to the Hierophant, or not the Hierophant, the Hermit. I'm so sorry, the Hermit. We also have renamed it Time. Right? So taking the time to do the self-reflection, for the growing, for the journeying. I love that kind of this idea of like the sun will always be rising on a new day, but the search for power. We have a snake of wisdom here wrapping around the hermit's little walking stick. Definitely can pull the time of reflection that is needed to make the next steps. I also love that it's a checkerboard, which is kind of a theme that goes out, which is also a way to kind of show that, like, we are playing chess, not checkers here. So we have to make our moves calculated and in time. This was a fun card to dive into. So, as we said, the 10s were this bullseye here. And you can see the bullseye here in the wheel. Now, the big thing that I loved from this 10 is that we see people. These zodiac signs and, Terra and Torah and we still have the alchemical symbols. Yes, we have the alchemical symbols here. And we have them here. But instead of all of these kind of unknown different images that might be hard to understand right away, they have decided to put the Hierophant, the Hanged Man, Death, and the Chariot individuals on the wheel, showing that the Wheel of Fortune spins for everyone, and everyone kind of has this identity and time of aloneness, perspective, change, and victory cycling through constantly. So here is Strength. Now we tie into the limniscate here. This tree in the background is saying that, like, while things might be moving around us kind of hectic, or like the environment is moving or has a little bit of chaos, we are tied and connected to the balance here. You also have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-pointed star or crown, again, around the mind of the individual. She is sitting comfortably as she tames the beast. Here, instead of the laurels being wrapped around the waist, they're on the wrist, almost making it like a leash, if you will, here for that. Let's see here. Yeah, we don't have the connection of the flower. Like, yeah, there's flowers here, but it's not as... you can sometimes pull, right, the flowers here from this magician tie into this strength card. But we don't necessarily see that because there is already a lot to unpack here. But yes, 11 and 8, I don't have them in the wrong order. This is based on the Marseille order. The Hanged Man. So now we have transitioned away from all of the added extra symbolism in the background that we're used to. They are only through 1 through 10, right? Because now anything else is just a duplicate of the numbers 1 through 9, right? So, Hanged Man, we still have this kind of light around the head. Ooh, but there's coins falling out, but it's like the light and the dark. He doesn't look all that happy. He looks a little bit perplexed. The tree has been chopped, but there's still growth at the top. And these mushrooms growing are still showing that there is, even though these trees have been kind of chopped down for this person to make themselves a sacrifice, if you will, things can still grow from this. But the balance here of like money falling out is an interesting aspect that sometimes we have to give in our situation to have this enlightenment that we're looking for. Here is the Death card. Now, they talk a lot about two things. The dead fish, which is an interesting choice, right? They're being rotten. That the death comes for everyone, but from this death can come growth. That's why there is a flower. But in the distance, we have this setup here with the sun rising, which seems to be the most important thing, that through the emotional change, the sun is going to rise on us. I think that this is a gentler image of death than some of the other images of death that are out there. But I do absolutely love that there's movement, there's ships, that this just happens to be what we stumbled on. It had to happen, so now here we are. We are embracing the change and having the rebirth and the growth that we want. The tie-in with the ankh around the neck is a lovely feature, that this is just life. Change happens. Things come to an end. Things come to a conclusion. Temperance. So here is why the tower, that structure, is important here, right? Through death, we now can journey to temperance, to balance, to this kind of enlightenment, stability that we have. And I love that we have kind of the tie back into the triangle here, but it also is called to that sevens, right? That symbolism does show up again here, but in a way that is kind of embraced here. But the sun has risen. We are on the other side. We are taking something out of an old, mixing it into new. The 1 foot on the water, touched with the emotions, and 1 foot on the ground. Let's see what our little weasel friend here. It says, to the angel side is an Imrine, an animal that mythically prefers death rather than to sully the purity of its coat. Interesting. In the background, we see the same standing stones from the death card, but the sun is now rising higher in the sky, symboling progress made towards nirvana. The angel has full control and mastery of life and is the daughter of reconciliation. Beautiful. We can still pull all of the same aspects. It is, again, a Rider-Waite inspired, but it has a lot more into it. This devil is so packed with so much. We have the fire down. We don't necessarily see the same parallels as the Rider-Waite Smith does to the Lovers card, but you can always kind of say that these two are still the lovers, having made the wrong choices, if you will. We see the inverted of the 5 here symbol that we've seen before, with the lovers having still their chain to this, or almost like an umbilical cord, if you will, attached to the devil's podium. There is 2 snakes in with the devil here. Let's dive into the book real quick. All right. Self-inflicted weakness and addiction prevent the realization that the loose binds could just be slipped out of if so willed. It is easier to blame the devil and remain enslaved than it is to face the truth. However, spiritual rewards await those with strength to overcome the material change. We like to blame the devil, but he is not our enslaver. We are. He distracts us with temptations and addictions. He lies with illusions. However, this is only a mere extreme way of teaching the same lessons as the Hierophant. The devil is actually the light bringer for those who are ready to see. Beautiful. All right. The Tower here, still all of the same chaos that we would see from the Rider-Waite-Smith Tower here, pulling in that symbolism here that the harmony that we are used to has kind of disappeared. Yes, harmony. Harmony has disappeared because now we are trying to get back to that new normal or stronger foundation. But this is the tower or the chaos that we saw in the Chariot. The Star, all of the same. We got the Ibis, we've got the 2 cups, we've got a butterfly here. We still have 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, still 7 stars around. Beautiful. Love this interpretation. Nothing crazy to pull from. The Moon card. We have the triple goddess here, coming into us with that balance again, pulling from the 8. Here we have the wild side and the tame side, knowing that we kind of just have to move through and almost pulling back into the high priestess energy here with the triple goddess here. But knowing that we kind of have to move through the things in the world, doing things scared and unknown, but trusting our intuition and trusting the way that we walk to move forward through everything. The Sun card, pulling in that 9, the power and strength from above, but instead of a baby, we have this kind of cherub's animal looking at the horse. But the horse is coming into the energy that we have picked up and that we have built and established. Let me see if I can find... Oh, it's Apollo. Apollo, the sun, reading from a distance. Apollo, the Sun King and God of Light, stands outside the garden wall playing the lyre. The 7 strings of his instrument also vibrate. Behind Apollo is a low wall representing the boundary between consciousness and subconsciousness, which has now been overcome. Love that. There, again, always read through the guidebooks. There's so much information to pack in here. Judgment, or is also now fame, rising up to who we are. We see the combination here of that 10 again, that 10 symbolism here. Also with the heart, it's the same angel. It is the same angel as Temperance, which is a lovely additive here. That is the same angel. Yeah, the hair's a little bit different, but it's the same angel, in my opinion. That it's bringing in that temperance now that we have, right? The balance that we have created, we are now leaning into and enjoying. The ships have changed, right? The ship from the death card is leaving, while this kind of golden ships are coming in to us, bringing in that change, bringing in that abundance. Instead of the cross, we have the right angle and the compass here, kind of showing that we have made the plans, but we've gone through that Phoenix rebirth and that change. And the World card, all of the same information that we can usually pull, but instead of it being the higher elevated symbols of the zodiac, it's now we are tied with our elements. We are tied into earth, air, fire, and water. We have combined ourselves and made whole. There's a heart here, right? We are emotionally whole with who we wanted to become. So that is the majors. Let me reset and we will dive into the minors. All right, we're diving into the minors. So they have renamed it from pentacles to discs. Now this is fun. So now is here. Now we will see all of the symbolism tied into the from the majors tied into the minors. So here's where we get some of the symbolism. You will see that there is a banner here that's going to say either A, 1, 2, etc. So giving us our number. We have the element symbol for earth. We have the playing card symbol of the diamond. And then the lemniscate is going to show up here. So this is a lovely representation of being able to plant new seeds, kind of having that growth. Acorns kind of really representing those seeds element here for ourselves and having that financial growth coming from the manifestations that we look for. The twos, you can find the X here for that duality is here. She is dancing with this serpent here, kind of saying that we're juggling our wisdom and knowledge here with what else is going on. And the minors are all color-coded, which I love. So you'll see that pentacles are green, swords are yellow, wands are red, and cups are blue. So it's easy to understand and see what you're coming up against. Teamwork, working together. They're working with the compass, kind of mapping things out. We have kind of this death and growth, but we got teamwork here. We're working together here, kind of figuring things out. 4, we're protecting our things. We've even kind of got bars on the window, keeping ourselves kind of locked away or overprotecting the things that we have value in, keeping us unavailable or unattainable from the rest of the outside world. 5, we see the hardship, but instead of understanding and like looking for the help that's coming, we are stuck kind of looking at our own little island here. We're struggling, but not necessarily seeing the help that's coming for us. Six, right? Where's that? Sorry, I'm trying to also see where that symbolism is coming back in. What was 5? Oh, it's the star on the flag here. Right? This is the disruption from what we're going through. Okay, so harmony, right? It's a gathering together, right? Of bringing things together to share generously. And you actually see, we're going to see this character again. We're going to see all of these characters in a way again come back at different times. But I definitely know that she comes back again. But this generosity and this giving of the financial gains that we have is definitely readable. Here is the 7, right? We got that struggle. What are we going through? What are we working towards? What are we trying to grow and create and reflect while we are working? Hard work. Now, this is kind of getting that job done, finding that stability here for ourselves and that balance while we have an onlooker going on. As we are getting it done, we aren't distracted by it. We aren't distracted by the onlookers. We aren't distracted by who we're doing this for. We are lasered in and focused and ready for what we are trying to achieve. The symbolism of power. Now, there is an element here. I love that we kept the snail here. This specific deck, I believe, when we talk about it, flipping through. Oh my goodness. Sorry, friends. Oh, okay. I forgot that they go by all of the... So all of the people so the book goes by nines, so the 9 of wands, 9 of discs. So when you're flipping through, you're not going to necessarily be able to go, oh, I want just wands or I want just discs. You're going to have to look for the 9 and then find it. But all of these characters are given names. So this is the Lady of Material Gain. Enjoys the fruits of her labor. She is fancifully dressed, and the castle in the background also suggests she has a strong family heritage. Some qualities we inherit are helpful. She is surrounded by the grapes and luscious vegetation though there is no sign of working. This is a sense of accomplishments. Years of motivation, good planning, and labor have created a successful environment as well as a positive emotional and spiritual well-being. She holds a falcon representing training and devotion. The snail is seen crawling before her, representing slow and gradual evolution. There is no need to rush. So the main thing here, which I had never really thought of, is that this is an inherited kind of wealth, that this kind of has been given to us that we can own and we deserve, but it's not necessarily 100% ours. It's something that has been passed down to us from above. Here is the abundance. We have also kind of this hint back to the moon or the high priestess. Actually, it is the high priestess because of the fish hat in the shadows here. Kind of we've walked our path and pulled in what we needed to. The 10 is in the wheel. Now, this is what I hadn't noticed before. They talk about the transition, right? This family abundance here is being passed down from this older gentleman through loyalty to the child. Look closely and you'll see that the old man is touching the dog is being touched by the child. There is this transition of loyalty to the family about what you're working through to get what you need. And I didn't realize that it's also seen here in a way. They're not touching the same dog, but they're touching loyalty. This old man is touching this dog, this little child is touching that dog, which is a lovely element to pick on, which I hadn't done before. Look at the Page of Discs, which we saw in the 6. She's back. Now, I love that we gave names to the court cards. So, we're talking about discs here. The Page of Discs is called the Entrepreneur, which that is very relevant to the entrepreneur. We have a rabbit kind of showing luck, kind of having that kind of whimsy and multiplying and going quickly. She's kind of off balance still that we can see, but she is still solidly planted in what she is going through. Cavalier or the Knight still also shows this kind of tie-in energy to harmony. Do we have a symbol here on the page? No, we don't. All right. This horse is chunky, kind of representing this slow and steady. This is the name of this knight is the inventor, taking things slow, taking things steady, going through what we need, and talking about how we give time and dedication to the things that we want to grow and to cultivate. The Queen of Discs or Pentacles is called the Architect. She is established, right? She has built the home. She has built the household. She has built what she has wanted. Pull in to the rabbit here. So you could say that maybe the page has grown into the Queen's energy here. Lushfulness, kind of seeing that gratitude and that abundance, that happiness here with the fruit on the tree, and still having, right, that architect, that design symbol here. And the king, I love that he's stepping on a, oh, he's stepping on a boar here too, in a way. This is why I love kind of having the two cards side by side, because now I can see and cross-reference. But the king is called the provider here, looking off to the distance, looking to the left, looking at which way we're going. The sword is in the ground, but it's more or less being held onto, not necessarily being used. But the fruits of their labor is kind of understood as he's kind of looking out over his land and understanding what's going on. So, yeah, that is the Pentacles. All right, so keep an eye out for all of the symbols that we've pointed out, but this is the Ace of Swords. Again, playing cards, the symbolism down here on the bottom. So great representation of being brought the energy from kind of, it looks like actually all of the aces are brought to us by a spiritual or mythical or magical creature. So it really is tying into that manifestations are coming from another source here. So really love that. The Two of Swords, while people are battling here, our purpose here is to find the duality in making the choice. I enjoy that it's not necessarily the woman who's holding the swords. It's the, like, these dueling people in the background. We will see a lot in this deck. Dualities and romantic elements of like two men fighting over a woman, or a woman being at the center of things. It is very heteronormative, in my opinion. Not something I am a huge fan of, but I can look past it. So again, this duality, I love that there's this added maybe incense here to help us focus and make a decision as there's conflict arising logically around us. And this is what I mean with the Three of Swords. The heartbreak about a lover choosing somebody else, that is where it skews romantic. But the Three of Swords talks about putting logical understanding to the feelings that we are having through hard times. There are growth. We see the symbolism here of creativity to kind of bring us out of this funk if we put our thoughts to a constructive use to understand the hurt that we're feeling. Fours, rest. Look, I love that we have peace here. The symbolism of peace here in the background is understanding that is why we are resting, so that we can kind of go off to battle, to fight things, to have us be able to go off. The swords being the bedposts. Love that. The Five of Swords, instead of it being like this battle here, the Five of Swords is having us kind of pull ourselves back to what we're working on after having some sort of like distraction or upset. Now, if you look closely though, the artwork that this person is working on or drawing is the Five of Swords that we're used to seeing. I love how cheeky that is. So they also have little like keywords or phrases here. So it's a disruption of thought. So it says Five of Swords signifies a disruption of thought that is the cause of temporary defeat, which comes with severe cost and consequence. We must not allow pride and arrogance to lead us astray. So, right, it really focuses on that like minor inconvenience of this cat running across our artwork, having us be distracted and upset for a moment in time. And now we have to understand our actions on how we move through things. But I really love this tie-in of being, if we have a struggle with understanding this card, we can look at the artwork that's there. What is this? Oh, Fox in the Hen House. So really showing like Fox in the Hen House, kind of this disruption that happens. All right. The Six of Swords, which this That might be what's coming into the fame. The Six of Swords boat. It's unclear, but I would love to think that that's the Six of Swords coming on in. Yeah, it is. Look at the background here. Look at the castle here. And the castle here are the same. So it's the Six of Swords that's coming into fame. It's coming in through the choices that we make. Moving forward, being kind of shepherded along. The swords, I kind of like that the swords aren't in the boat. This always makes me question, like, why did we have to put the swords pointy side down? This is showing that we've made logical choices to get ourselves away. We have the choppy water to the still water, emphasizing that choice aspect that is coming into harmony and balance. Ooh, snake in the grass. Kind of love that energy really being here, focusing on that kind of deception and deceiving what's happening here, sneaking away with things that aren't necessarily yours, while people are a lot closer than we think they are, keeping this kind of energy in the background here. But that snake in the grass energy really is what is kind of my favorite aspect of this card. Trapping ourselves. Interesting that we've decided to put the swords in front of her, really kind of trapping her in here, when the whole thing here that I've always kind of leaned on is that there's nothing in the way stopping us from moving forward. So we've called this the balance of thought. The Lady of Shortened Force has been blindfolded and her arms bound behind her. The restraints of trial are actually a right of intention. To pass the test, we must remain calm and block out distractions. The lady's legs remain unrestrained, and it is possible she will discover the trick of walking backwards and use the sharp sword's blades to her advantage. Okay. So it's flipped around. We've made the exit is actually behind us. Interesting. I kind of like that perspective. No matter how hard and hopeless the situation seems, there's always a way out if we remain calm. Beautiful. I kind of enjoy that now, that representation of it. That it's less about it is using our strength, is what I've always said. But because we flipped it, we kind of have to wait for karma of the physical world, waiting for justice, in a way. But this idea of remaining calm when things are challenging will help us see the bigger picture to clear the way out of it. All right. Nines. Love that we have the power. We have the zodiac signs, which I always talk about. This chaos or this duel, this conflict on the bed, right? Showing that our bed there's conflict or struggles that we're fighting in, but we're covering ourselves with the world's things that are taken care of in the universe. This monkey is, the monkey is a representation and talked about in the book as being our brain, is being our thought process, our monkey in our head, kind of constantly going, constantly battling. So how do we kind of subdue that energy here? It's the power of thought. And this is kind of that negative side of the power of thought, that it can actually be detrimental to our health, our sleep, our confidence, our alone time. So yeah, I love all of the symbolism here. The tens, we have that overkill feeling. And again, but it pulls into the hand gesture, which I love. The hand gesture ties into the Hierophant, right? It's the same hand gesture that they have. And they talk about it here. However, while the sun It says, however, while there is ruin, all is not lost. The hand of the figure makes a secret gesture to communicate this is a metaphorical death. The sun in the background and the golden dawn, there is a promise of new beginning. We actually don't talk about it being tied to the Hierophant in the book here, but it is definitely the Hierophant's hand symbolism being pulled into play. But for some reason, I just love this one more than this 10. All right. Now we're in the court cards. We are going to talk about what these pages or what these all are called. So the Page of Swords is the detective, finding out new information, expanding our growth, looking for new thoughts, words, actions, and understanding where things are going from. And there's a lemniscate in the fire showing that there is not, like, the fire might be smoking, but there's still a possibility to create things here with a new perspective for ourselves here. So I love that this is the detective. The Knight or the Cavalier of Swords is the debater, right? Going after things with kind of this, I'm going to debate everything with my thoughts, my words, my actions, just going after it. Love that we have the butterfly here. There's quick movement here. There's anger or discomfort on their face. Just being really, really tied to everything that they're doing. The Queen here is called the Analyst. Now, my kind of favorite takeaway here, you have to look closely. So, the sword has blood. Oop, get back in frame. The sword has blood in it. Why? Because she had to sever somebody's head. She had to cut things off. And we still have the concept that of her head is clear. It is above the clouds. Her wisdom and knowledge is above the clouds here. So she is of clear thought and mind when she has to enforce the rules, the boundaries, the things that are happening around her. And the King of Swords, comfortable with everything that is going on, sitting back and relaxed, protected. While things look kind of dry and barren, they are kind of fully in force. They are the administrator, right? Doesn't matter what's going on. All they care is about the logic and wisdom. They are fully in control, comfortably sitting there, right? Even though we have the butterfly of change, right? But it's through kind of force and change. Their chair, her chair is visible. His throne being kind of still outside the realm of the card kind of shows that their wisdom and knowledge is unmatched and ever growing and really high. And also, like, they are above the clouds as well, where we see, right, the page and the knight, they are still on earthly level, right? They haven't really ascended that high to the wisdom here. So that is the swords. All right, let's talk about our wands here, our fire, our passion. Got the lemniscate. We've got a little bit of luck, fiery passion, a mythical little lizardy dragon tied to fire and heat. Cannot pull through all that you need to. The twos, which is the cover of the box. Two is making a plan, finding, working. We've got the flowers connected that we've seen in the Magician here, showing that we are now deep in our craft and making work and making plans as things in the background We are comfortably within our comfort zone, making things happen, right? And the world, right? We still have the world, so the world's at our fingertips here for us. The 3, the ships that we saw here have now gone out. But this is the fun part here. And I'm going to go to the book. All right. The 3 of Wands signifies creativity of action from collaborative efforts. So collaborative efforts. It says, although he stands alone, his wands serve to support, illuminate, and communicate. Although he is an independent soul, the partnerships he has made have helped him overcome hardships. Plans are now in motion. Teamwork is strong. Wait, where is it? It's the last sentence. Teamwork is strong. Overlook the enterprise and adventure is good. However, there is many things outside of his control. This is symbolized by the 3 weird sisters here, who weave, measure, and cut the threads of fate, which is, I think that is a lovely additive that we don't get here. That, like, okay, we've made deals, we've made partnerships, but there is still an element of fate being kind of waiting on that return on investment. So what are we going to keep doing? Because what do we do with what we've been working on? Because things are out of our control. All right. Are we going to come up and party here? With the 4 of Wands. So it's stability of action. Now there is, I think, right, it talks about okay, this is what so they talk about this bedpost and these 3 little, it looks like it's 666. So, it says, after partial progress of work has been accomplished, this is now the time to honor tradition and make merry. The wands also act as a bedpost of the devil, whose number is hidden in the details of the garlands vines above. This hints that, despite arriving at the castle, the journey is far from over, and there will be continuation of work after these intermittent festivities. Interesting. So it's just a little like, hey, let's celebrate how far we've come so far, but know that, like, there's still work to be done. But it's an interesting element, right? A moment of celebration. We have stability. We have 4 corners, the balance. But I love that it's a stage that we step onto. For a little moment of celebration, we still see the same friends greeting us while the cavalcade of people come over the bridge to join the party. Ooh, this is literally cooks in the kitchen, right? We all want to make something, but how do we work together? Really simple and easy way to pull from that. She looks like she's about to clobber somebody. Stepping up, stepping into the moment of celebration. We've kind of organized this chaos. We've got things under control. We've gotten things into this moment of celebration for ourselves. Stepped up and had leadership, but let's not forget we were once down. We once weren't on the horse. We were once the people on the ground. Standing up for what we believe in. 7 of Wands, showing that kind of need to fight for what we believe in. signifies struggle of action necessary for victory and achievements. The lesson from this arcana is to face our fears and improvise when needed. We must fight with valor for what we believe in, no matter what people say. Love that takeaway. There's also this little bit of emotion, little bit of fire here, or water, not fire. Water here, showing that this is emotional for us. There is passion, where there's care there. Oh, this Eight of Wands is showing so much more than the traditional Rider-Waite. So let's read into this one. So, the Lord of Swiftness launches a fury projectile from his catapult. His machine has been expertly designed to incorporate force and balance. It is important to plan and coordinate before springing into action, but now things are in motion. All delays have been cleared, and what will be, will be. All the synchronization with the divine power that is the Alpha and Omega. You can see that in the catapult. The first and the last. Now that action has been launched, it cannot be undone. We must wait and discover the inevitable balanced reaction. What goes up must come down. So this is really a cause and effect. This is really emphasizing the before kind of this downfall that we see in the eights. This is really what goes up must come down energy, which I love. All right, nines. The biggest takeaway from this is that showing up at the right time with the power needed to endure what is going on. We have broken through whatever has held us back in the past with our current choice to pursue the fight, but to show up at the exact moment when it's necessary for us to keep moving on. I love it. All right. 10, it's that struggle and that abundance, but the big takeaway here with this one is making sure we get that abundance home. The firewood has been collected now, and now there can be rest by the hearth. Let's let go of what is oppressive and no longer necessary. It is time to relax and rejuvenate. The cycle has run its course, and now downtime is in order to regain enthusiasm and stamina. Love it. Love that energy here. All right. Court cards. All right. So, the Page of Wands is the entertainer. Looking out, creating, making things new, making new theatrical moves, having that fire and that passion kind of running out onto stage, if you will, but being an entertainer of sorts. The Knight of Wands or fire is the adventurer, going out on an adventure, seeking the passions that we want, going after things with creativity, fire, and passion. The Queen of Wands is the defender, quietly making her moves in silence. Love that we have the same symbolism. Her chair is out of frame, her chair is out of frame, saying that her power is unmatched and unknown and has no limits, but she makes her moves in silence as she is the defender. She defends quietly the things that she has value in. And the King of Wands is the commander. Command a stage, right? Be theatrical, be over the top, make big, bold moves. And we see all the same similarities that we see from the Rider-Waite-Smith. That is the Wands. All right, Cups. Still all the same elements that we're used to. The only added extra here that they talk about is the streams that are coming out of the cup. The endless supply of cool liquid briskly flows upward above the cup and back into the water below, where lotus and water lilies can be seen, representing the creative powers of imagination. The 5 streams represent the 5 basic senses which we all experience in the world, which I kind of love, kind of throwing that we need to add our senses into what we are feeling. We can still see the caduceus energy, but this is conversation for the sake of emotional healing. And they add this element of the necklaces, that these are not a match. It's supposed to make the yin and the yang symbol, but they are both identical. They would not make a good match. So it's that understanding. Now these cups go really romantic here. So just know that this whole cup suit is going to be overly romantic. So, but it emphasizes that it's the coming together and to figure out that they are not an ideal match. So how do we move forward? The 3 of Cups is that celebration with community, making the wine that we're probably drinking in this cup together, having this moment of celebration, of fun. The 4 of Cups, putting yourselves first, looking up, right? This artist is struggling to make something that they care about, that they are emotionally stable with. And instead of looking at the blank canvas, if they looked up, they would find the inspiration. I just love, and the fact that this white is so white and glaring that it sticks out to this. The 5 here, this is the shoulda, coulda, woulda card, right? Kind of looking at the spilt cups here. This is the disruption of emotions. The 5 of Cups signifies the pain of disappointment, the loss that can divert us from the pleasure of connecting to the strong emotional support and mercy of friends. The ability to go forward is a choice. Beautiful. I love it. So this is like if somebody is watching from one of these windows here. Hold on. It's the Hermit. It's the Hermit. Looking out the window, reflecting on the emotional time or the fondness of the children playing, right? They've stacked their emotions here, but they're looking for the nostalgia, the fun, the joy, the peace here. Yeah. Love that. All right. 7. So we have the Magician coming back here. And it's like they've made their things. Now they got to choose for it. Now they got to figure out what they're wanting here. I didn't realize that it was the Magician. I haven't really sat down again. This is why I'm doing these deep dives, is so we can kind of figure out what is meant here. 7 of Cups signifies the struggle of emotion to discern helpful visualizations from distractions. In order to achieve the wants of our heart, we must first imagine them. However, our choice should be made with eyes wide open. Otherwise, we risk being trapped by illusions, illusionary success instead of achieving real victory. Emotions can push us towards both good and evil actions that can sometimes be difficult to tell apart. Love it. All right. 8. Here is a fun, right? I always say that the 8 of Cups is time to move on, right? Time to walk away. But this Eight of Cups talks about, yeah, going on an adventure, but first making sure your home is neat and tidy before you go. It's not necessarily the it's not the completion of completely walking away and never coming back. It says embarking on a new journey can represent needed change, but before abandoning our past successes to seek new splendor, we must first be sure to set our house in order. Only then will we truly be free. Putting your emotional house in order before you go looking for change. The Nine of Cups really playing on that wishing well, kind of creating and hope and love and longing here. The power of emotions. Love it. The 10 signifying that joy, that happiness, that alignment. Not only do we still have the rainbow, but these cups also come down here, showing that each individual has a moment of true happiness within their cup. Court cards now. The Page of Cups is the mediator, having that fun, that whimsy, that kind of whimsical energy. Wait a minute, though. But it's not the same bridge. Okay, cool. I thought that the Five of Cups bridge that we see is the same one, but it's not. So that fun, that whimsy, that mediator. We still have the fish in the cup. Love that. The Knight of Cups is the champion going through. We also have the zodiac signs here. But it talks about here too that we are so focused on our own emotional needs that we miss the maiden in the tower. And I love that. I love that we're putting everything first for ourselves and not focusing on the lady in the tower. There's so much here in the Queen of Cups. The Queen of Cups is the advocate here, is what she is called. She is the advocate, is the emotional and intuitive. Her deeply spiritual energy is the pure essence of the water element. She has the personality of an advocate. There is so much in her hands. She has there's an orb in her cup. She has the lily. She is a kindred spirit of the high priestess, the aura of mystery. Her elaborate throne is adorned with a pair of winged undies and double-headed fish from which a giant shell is suspended. An ibis has landed next to her to seek counsel, and there is also a hermit crab that can be seen crawling on a nearby rock. Although her creative and intuitive nature restricts her from directly affecting the material, she is able to provide excellent advice for others. It's just a very elaborate and well done card. And then the King of Cups is the teacher. And it's interesting that the sword behind the head here, right? But we're leading with the cup here. That fish jumping out, the boat that is coming in. Love the King card. Now let's move on. Oops, sorry. Let's get that back in frame. I hope the Queen was in frame, but I will go back quickly. Let's dive now into the extra cards. All right, so we're diving into the extra cards. Thanks so much for hanging in with me, friends. I know this one is a long one, but this is a 100-card tarot deck, so there's a lot of information here. So the Two of Fishes is representation for March 21st to April 15th. So this is Pisces. And in the guidebook, too, it gives a breakdown of all of the cards. I'm just going to go through and kind of give the time frame since there's 14 instead of 12. The Ram is Aries. So the Sea Monster is creativity of independence. It says that the time frame is May 12th through June 6th. I've never heard of this one before. So this is an interesting aspect. The Bull is Taurus. Or actually, the Sea Monster is supposed to be the zodiac sign Cetus, Cetus. All right, so the Bull is Taurus. Specific dates are June 7th through July 2nd. The Twins are Gemini, which is July 3rd through July 28th. The Crab is Cancer, and the dates they say are July 29th through the 23rd. The Lion, which is Leo, which is August 24th through September 18th. The Maiden is Virgo, and that the dates they say in this book are September 19th through October 14th. The Scales are Libra, October 15th through November 9th. Scorpion, or Scorpio, is November 10th through December 5th. The Serpent Bearer, or I can't even pronounce that name, but that's the zodiac name. The Serpent Bearer is December 6th through the 31st. The Centaur, or Sagittarius, is January 1st through January 26th. The Sea Goat, or Capricorn, is January 27th through February 21st. And the Water Bearer, which is Aquarius, February 22nd through March 20th. In the book, we don't necessarily have a description on what zodiac signs or what version of astrology they are using here. But this is the zodiac sign cards that are given. And quickly, here are the additional cards that they have thrown in to the tarot deck. Adding numbers, right? We can see that they are still part of the major suits with the color choices that are here. It is in that purple family. So the Vision, and it's the duality of dreams. And the quick little description, it says, the vision signifies a heightened epiphany of duality, granted by crossing the threshold between the awakening world and the land of dreams. Higher knowledge and enlightenment can be grasped from the altered passive state. Remember this revelation so that it may be shared with others. I kind of get High Priestess energy. Not gonna lie. Like, I can kind of see all that in the High Priestess. But the Falconer, creativity of focus is the description and little phrase for it. The Falconer signifies the focused creativity necessary to achieve success. The boldest action can sometimes be not acting, but holding back and watching. We must focus on our goals and be prepared to seize opportunity when it presents itself. Be true to ourselves. This, to me, is Five of Wands energy. Prudence, stability of virtue is the card. Prudence signifies the insight and wisdom needed as a foundation to regulate all of the other virtues. Combine memory to remember the past, intelligence to draw lessons in the present, and foresight to apply these lessons and anticipate wise action in the future. Utilize prudence in movement towards new realizations. I see that in other cards. And I'm going through these separate because I don't know if I'm necessarily going to keep all of these cards in the deck. I might just keep them separate, maybe for some different insight. The Grail, but the Grail is already tied to, in my opinion, the Ace of Cups. So the Grail signifies the ultimate quest for enlightenment, the disruption of darkness. It is the conclusion, fulfillment of a physical or even mystical experience. It also is sounding like the World. All right. The Dragon. The Dragon signifies a key test in which we must forgo material attachments and be in harmony with our passions in the name of the spiritual ideal. By mastering desire, we conquer the dragon. If not, the dragon conquers us. What we must need is often found where we least want to look. The greatest wisdom the greatest wisdoms are rewarded to the brave who boldly face the unknown. This, to me, sounds like the devil. And in the description, right, it actually talks about this in the deeper, bigger passage. It says, our earthly yearning for riches and other material possessions, including our physical bodies, can have a strong hold. But where the chains of the devil only held us back, the fangs and claws of the dragon will destroy us completely. But I challenge that because the devil has teeth and fangs and claws, and it seems like it can do the same things as the dragon. They're one and the same to me. I really don't see a separation. Yeah, we have the ties to the emperor in this image, right? The signs of the emperor have been eaten, but like the devil can eat the emperor too. All right. Here's where I have this is the struggle of purpose. The card is hope. My key word for the star is hope. So this specific card with hope signifies perseverance, confidence, and overcoming struggle of purpose. We can proceed without fear when choice and fate are in harmony. We make progress towards a better future when we keep our chin up and follow our true will. Hope is a deep and unsinkable trust in the divine, which allows our spirit to feel light and free. It is a choice that is both an act of will and surrender to grace. That sounds like the star card. Faith is next. Faith is the balance of peace. This is also giving Three of Cups energy here in a way. Faith signifies rock-solid belief that provides balance, strength, stability, and peace. With a firm trust and harmony of the divine and the power of the calamities and afflictions the power of calamities and afflictions are defeated. So it's like when we go through these hard times, when we defeat these things, that's when faith comes in. But also faith could be the Hierophant, could be the High Priestess. And the last card here is Charity, which you could also see as the Six of Coins or the Six of Pentacles. But Charity signifies the power of agape love. No matter what the question, love is always the answer. Charity represents the compassion and understanding that makes anything possible. Talks about the golden rule. I don't know. But that, my friends, is the deep dive into the Allcento Tarot. Let me know your thoughts, feelings, opinions, and what decks should we dive into next. Thank you so much for being here, friends. Remember, go slow, be present, and breathe. Bye-bye.